Hi there, Robyn, Linn, Being You in Business. Today's seminar is all about attuning and aligning to the feminine essence that is you. I'm going to be guiding you through very specific aligning tools that we can connect to today that allow you to really tap in from a much more engaging perspective with your life. And what I mean by that is that we will be really guiding you, you will be guiding you, I will be guiding you, we will be guiding your essence, the energy of what makes you tap in to the vibration. I use the term a lot when I'm in my flow. Sometimes I say I'm in the flow, but usually I say I'm in the vibe. And I think a lot of you who are spiritual practitioners can relate to that. Are you in the vibe? Are you in the vibe right now with the work you're doing, with the contribution you're making, with your family, your relationships, your ability to connect to something beyond just yourself, the ego, not just the I am, but the we are. I'm going to be guiding us through this processing and going beyond just the thinking aspect of how do I do this, but actually tapping in and aligning to it, actually becoming aligned with your highest vibration, the feminine essence that is you, the vibration, your feminine vibration. So we're going to attune to that essence. We're going to be able to attract what it is you want. We're going to be going through specific questions that you're going to be aligning yourself with so that everything is clear, it makes sense, and you understand exactly how to start attracting what you want, whether it's financial abundance, whether it's consciously raising your children, finding the right job career, or building a business in the way that you see fit for you, your lifestyle goals, attracting a spouse, a partner, a loved one, or collaborations, being able to attract yourself, to love yourself, to like who you really are. I find a lot of women are, and I'm not adverse to this, but I find a lot of women specifically are very aware that they're not in a space of attraction, so they won't attract what they want. And because they're not attracting what they want, they're attracting what they don't want. They're lacking joy, they're lacking abundance, they're lacking clarity, they're lacking confidence, they're lacking conviction in themselves, their path, their purpose, their vision, their partnerships are stale, lacking intimacy, and the impact we make cannot quite be as profound as we would like. What ends up happening is when we lose this connection with our essence, which I'm going to be speaking to all of you about today, when we lose this direct connection with our essence, we then will be able to create a higher leveraging impact, meaning whatever it is we desire out of what we put our energy and efforts into, we will create. We will attract what we want. If you don't like yourself, if you don't like how you're showing up, if you don't like how you feel physically, right, emotionally, if you don't like how you are being projected and how people are perceiving you, if you don't like that energy, then of course it's going to be very difficult for you to really make the impact you want to make, to have something meaningful happen in your business or in any area of your life, relationships specifically, in all avenues of intimacy and professional. But to attract your highest level of potential, so you actually do it in the lifetime that you have. In this lifetime, you actually fulfill what it is that you are here to fulfill. Now, you may not know what it is that you are here to fulfill. You may not have a clue if you're on the right path or not. You may have a complete disconnect with what's going on in your life right now after maybe a divorce or a surgery, health challenge, a transition in your career, or your kids just left the house, empty nest syndrome, or you got laid off, or you just got married. There's so many things that can happen in our lives that we lose sight of ourself, and when we do, we lose that connection with what we are actually here to do, our contribution and the impact we're really here to make. So there is a disconnect. And when there is a disconnect, of course, we don't have what the Dalai Lama said, which I completely appreciate. Compassion, he said, is the radicalism of our time. And a lot of people will look at that word or hear the word radicalism. And of course, a radical idea. What's a radical idea? Bernie Sanders says, you ready for a radical idea? Let's be compassionate in how we show up. Let's infuse compassion into our business, into the work we do, with our children, with our partnerships, with just sharing our creativity out in the world. Let's just add some compassion there. Let's root ourselves in compassion. And it's interesting that Bernie Sanders, the presidential hopeful right now in the United States, for those who are not living in the US, and also the Dalai Lama here, has also shared for many years now, as part of his Dharma and part of the practice of Buddhism, is compassion. And people who don't practice Buddhism don't need to be Buddhist in order to practice compassion. And what I'd like to root here with you today is to start thinking in terms of compassion into your life, into your business, into your relationships, into every moment of how you are showing up, into everything that you do, into everything that you're offering, into everything you're receiving, into everything you see. If we can offer up compassion out to the world, guess what happens? I just laughed because it makes me happy even just thinking about it. If we offer compassion to others in times of difficulty and struggle, of course, we're going to have more success in our lives because we're going to make people happy. We're going to have this happy factor when we go around being who we are. But it's also on the reverse end of the spectrum. If people are giving you negativity or triggering you or making you feel uncomfortable with yourself, insecurities pop up, triggers appear, right? We overreact or react when we don't quite want to. We get out of our center and we go into a chaotic state emotionally sometimes. We're not quite in our equilibrium, our state of balance. And what ends up happening is that we lose sight of compassion, we lose sight of ourselves, and our energy is displaced, just like a cup of tea being just splashed all over the table. It was fine and dandy when the tea was in the mug, but as soon as we got out of control, our hand actually tipped the teacup over, and the tea went all over your laptop and destroyed your laptop, right? So that actually happened to me once in college. Destroyed my laptop entirely. And I remember feeling really uncomfortable inside and having to release that and offering compassion to the person who spilt tea on my keyboard and fused out my computer. And that happens a lot. It happens often with our intimate relationships, with our own thought processing, in a job, in your business, with your clients, in the interactions you have, even going to the market, trying to accomplish specific goals you have, whatever it is. We can offer compassion into what it is we're doing. And this is what I referred to as awakening out of a masculine-driven business culture. Awakening out of a masculine-driven business culture means getting out of adrenal fatigue, getting out of our adrenals or cortisol, high cortisol, getting out of this testosterone-driven model, the way that men are go, 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 do, got to get this, got to do this, got to make the money, got to be here, do that. And many women, of course, have modeled these behaviors of a masculine-driven business culture in order to make money, in order to succeed, in order to make their businesses work, because that's the way it was before. That's the model that we had to work with. And a lot of people become based in a fear mindset when they start to think about, well, what if I actually started to offer what I'm really passionate about? What if I actually wanted to do something different? What if I teach yoga, do Reiki, massage therapy, an acupuncturist, or I'm a consultant or a coach, or I do health consultations, or maybe I'm just, a professional in a great industry and I've been doing really well. Or you're a nurse. A lot of you are nurses, you're teachers. Some of you are doctors. There's a lot of really smart women here, very intellectual, intelligent. And it is definitely of the most importance to tap into this level of feminine essence. Now, when I said again earlier that when I'm in my flow, I'm attracting people I want to work with, I'm attracting high-level clients, I'm attracting good things in my life. People want to be around me, they want to just be happy around me, they offer me love and joy, and there's more abundance around me, there's more energy, I have more space to breathe, to be who I really am, and to ground into my essence, to ground into the one who is me at my highest level. At my highest level, I get to really earth myself, root myself. Many of you know the chakras, right? The chakras. We can root ourselves in the element of the first chakra, the groundedness of survival, right? Of stability, of being safe and secure, feeling like we have the money to do what we want and we don't have to worry. And a lot of times grounding is just feeling okay with the moment and okay with yourself. So if you're in your vibe, I want you to think about that for a moment. If you are floating in your vibe, you're high in your vibe, you are flying high, you're in the flow of your life, what does that look like? What does it really look like? What does it look like to be able to have the ideal life, your ideal vision? What does that really look like for you? And in order to align to this ideal vision, the highest level of your potential, right? To actually align to that, to align to your mission, your purpose in life, what you're really here to do, to align to that. How do we do that? Well, we have to get really clear on, of course, what is your ideal vision? What would it look like? What would it look like to be able to connect to the version of yourself that shows up fully, the version of yourself that connects to your essence, your truth? I love this image because it's above the clouds. You can see the mountains here, and I'm not quite sure exactly where you see yourself, but I'd like you to give it a try, give it a shot. Where do you see yourself floating above the clouds? Having this space, this clarity, this sense of ease, effortlessness. It's just so easy to accomplish what you want. It's effortless to attract people. It's effortless to have the relationship that supports you. It's effortless to go off and take care of yourself, do your self-care practice and care for your kids and make the money you want to make and run your business. It's effortless to have what you want, right? This is your essence, but we can't quite align to it if we don't know what it is. And we can't get there by thinking our way through. And I want you to realize that for just a moment. So when we connect to our head space, we're in the masculine-driven culture. And when men, as you probably ladies here know, when men run their businesses or they're the CEO of a company, and I've worked for many billionaire CEOs before who are my clients, and I've had some high-profile jobs before as well in the industry that I worked in as a journalist and in the media and entertainment industry in Miami. I had some interesting experiences working for high-profile people, and the culture that they brought to the business, to running the business and operating the business, was very different than my essence, was very out of alignment with my vibration. It was very much based in adrenals. It was very much based in undersleeping and overperforming. And there's a lot to be said about, of course, doing the work that must be done in order to create results, right? And if you have a goal of making over $1 million a year, which some of you do, many of you may not, but if you do, I can share with you that the transition to doing that is actually the opposite of what many of you think. The transition from making a couple thousand to a couple 10,000 to a couple 100,000 to millions of dollars a year, that shift has everything to do with how you, as a feminine being, align to the essence of you, that highest level vibration, your feminine vibration, that highest level, right? And it is effortless when you get there. It is effortless when you're operating there. And I don't want to say you arrive there, because it's not quite like that. It's not like we get to a destination and that's that. It's expansive, just like this image here. It's expansive. And we get to choose what happens when we open up to it. It isn't something that we arrive at, as I mentioned, and we forget about everything else. And we stay there. It's a practice. It's a level of ascension within ourselves that we get to say, okay, first of all, yes, I want to make more money. I want it to be less focused on labor, meaning I don't want to physically have to be doing a lot of labor in order to make money. I want it to be more hands-off, but connected, high-level connected, kind of like what Tony Robbins does, where he gets paid a lot of money to show up and millions of people want to see him and pay him tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars. Some of his clients, they pay him a lot of money. And he also has low-end offers too, a couple $1,000 for some of his offers, or his coach training. There's some people that I know who've paid him, and there's a way to do that, and there's a way to do it well. Now, the masculine-driven business culture, which is Tony Robbins' culture, which is the culture of building a business like Coca-Cola and Pepsi that may not have quite as meaningful a message as we wish, right? Or the product itself isn't quite as compassion-driven as we wish it could be. We could do without it, right? So many of you want to align to a higher level of your contribution, to give more back, to have a meaningful impact in the world. And many of you do appreciate the Dalai Lama's message of the Western woman is here to save the world. And I believe that what this means is we must remove ourselves from the masculine-driven culture, which means we must not model men. If what we want as feminine beings, if what we want is to arrive at our highest level, we can't follow the steps of what they have mimicked and modeled for centuries if we want to raise our vibration and the vibration of our culture and the world. And we can do this, and it is happening, and many of you do see that, and you probably feel it within yourselves, within your own business, perhaps, within your own family, perhaps, your relationships, getting divorced, removing yourself from relationships altogether, ending partnerships that are toxic, leaving jobs that are toxic, asking yourself, what am I really here to do with my work? To contribute more? So a lot of you are moving toward that direction. So I know you feel it. I know that it's something that you feel. So we've got to get out of our head, again, which is masculine driven. I am. And we move into the heart, which is we are, which is what can I offer? What can I receive and offer? So there's this symbiotic relationship now. And it has a lot to do with nurturing ourselves. If we nurture ourselves, we are able to give more. And if we can give more, there's more room to receive. It's not a one-way street. We have to be able to find a way to nurture ourselves if we want to nurture others. So there is this symbiotic relationship. So how do you nurture yourself? Do you wait until you go, do, get, you slingshot that adrenal up to the roof and you overdo it with your testosterone levels and your cortisol levels are through the charts, off the charts, and you find it really hard to calm down and you have to take a time out and you realize that, wait a minute, I wasn't giving to myself. I wasn't nurturing myself. Whether your body, that deals with physicality, it deals with your spirit and soul as well. Are you nurturing yourself physically? And are you nurturing your soul spiritually? So there's something else happening here that gets us off track. If we're focused in a headspace, we're thinking and we're overthinking and we're overthinking. And we're focused on I am, I want this, I want that, I need this, I need that. If we're focused in our heads, we're focused on ego, we can't do what it is we're here to do, and we lose sense of our feminine essence, we lose our grounding, and we lose sight of what we really want to create here. In order to get back that feminine essence, the vibration that is that highest level for us, we've got to remind ourselves to constantly nurture ourselves, consistently practice this. So what does that really look like for you? To nurture yourself physically with your body, yoga, meditation, getting massages, going on a nature walk, getting some sun, reading a book, taking time away from everyone in your family and just taking a bath. Do you do that regularly? Can you offer that to yourself? Or do you make all of these excuses that just bring you back to this adrenal fatigue or overwhelming head heavy nature and lose sight of, again, your essence? So again, we can do this. We can align to the feminine essence, to our highest level vibration, but we've got to remind ourselves to consistently offer this nurturing to ourselves and of course to others too. But it's physical and it's also from the soul, from the spirit. So are you really here doing what it is you're meant to do? You're really offering that to yourself, the time and energy to do what you are really here to do. Connection. This is very much grounded in nature, right? We find balance in nature when we remove ourselves sometimes from technology. I work a lot on videos and I do my own editing, so I have computers around me and the energy of the electronics can sometimes wear me out if I don't have a consistent practice connecting to nature, connecting to all that is, to going out and breathing and having fresh air. And if you don't offer this to yourself, and you're somebody like some people I work with, if you don't offer this to yourself and you're teaching it, right? If you're teaching this level of connection and you're not practicing it, it's a real disconnect. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of women I know don't have a lot of what they want, because it's hard to attract from a space of disconnect within yourself if what you're trying to do and give isn't in alignment with what you're practicing. And you know this. You've got to walk the walk if you're going to talk the talk, but it's not just about what we say and how our mouth moves, but it's about how we move our feet. It's about how we move. It's about how we act and what we do. And it does become rooted in connection. So I want you to think about your practice, about what you offer to others that creates the sense of unity or collaboration. Maybe you hold events or you do a lot of speaking, public speaking. Maybe you're an author or you're a consultant or a coach and you're connecting with people a lot. or you're like some of our students who do Reiki or offer health coaching or consultations, and you're connecting with people to their values and to nature and to a healthier lifestyle, but you're not quite there because you are focused in the masculine-driven business culture still. So I'm sharing with you that there is this shift that must happen if what we want is to make a bigger impact and to really truly live within a higher state of our vibration, within our essence, our feminine essence, to really do what we're here to do. And I'll keep reminding you that. What is it that you're really here to do? And we can get there, as I mentioned, not from the head space of I am, but from the heart space and from actions, from actually taking action on that with humility. And humility, as a lot of people practice, is not making it about you, but about what you're here to do. I share that a lot with people who I work with, my clients and students. I share a lot of times when they go on video and they're talking about I and me and I did this and in my divorce and when I did this and when I did that in my career, and talking about yourself is good if we shift the conversation into making it about what you're here to offer and who you're offering it to. So if you're going around, maybe in your relationship, so we can even reverse it, we can talk about it professionally in your career, but also in your personal relationships. If you're focused on you, I am, I want, me, what do I get? Of course, you know that that's not going to end well for your partner, and it's going to create a lot of codependency and resentment. So in our feminine essence, we've got to remind ourselves as well to act on humility. And what this means is when we're processing information, whether that's to make a sale or to offer some kind of value to our client who paid us, or to give back to our partner, our intimate relationships, or even with your parents. Maybe you have parents that are sick and they're not doing too well. I know a lot of you have been dealing with that. Some of the people that I'm working with, your mom just died and you're dealing with some of that as well. The humility is a great thing to connect with within yourself, offering yourself the release of it needing to be about you and actually making it about what you can do for others and how you can offer up, again, compassion, intimacy, tenderness to others. That's being humble. That's focusing on the we and not the I. Again, the head space is I am, I want. The heart space is we are. So humility is a shifting within ourselves. Being humble within ourselves, we can make an impact. We can be very impactful and have a lot of high-level contributions that we're able to offer. But we've got to make that shift from the masculine-driven head into the heart and compassionate way within our essence. Congruency, and I like this image as well. So we've got kind of this vintage style typewriter here with a notebook. We have these glasses, pine cone here, kind of adds to the nice ambiance. And what I like about this is truly this effervescence of congruency. Congruency is doing what you say, saying what you mean, meaning everything that you speak to. And this is very yogic as well. Everything that comes out of your mouth, everything that you do, everything that you think, it's got to come back to your thought process. There's got to be congruency. There's got to be a consistent level of what you're thinking, what you're saying, and what you're doing. And if you're somebody who loves to think and dream and fantasize and romanticize, maybe you get stuck in that realm and don't ever act on it. And that is not being congruent. That's being incongruent. Maybe you have a big goal and a dream and you spend all your time on the wrong kinds of things, like I always say, websites and blogs are helpful at times. Web pages and marketing funnels are much more effective as what we teach, Mike and I. But when we focus on the essentials of congruency, many people I know, many women, are not being congruent because they're focusing on the things that don't lead to results. And if we're focusing on the wrong things that don't lead to results, we're going to feel bad at the end of the day, week or month or year. We're going to feel like we didn't accomplish what we wanted. We're going to feel like we let ourselves down, like we let others down, like we wasted our time and money and energy. And of course, we would have. The congruency factor is being able to invest your resources properly, your thought process properly, the energy, your passions, to be able to put it all together in a way that makes sense. And that goes from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 consistently, where there's consistency in what you're thinking, with what you're speaking to, with what you're actually doing, and with how that is related out to the world, with your work, with what you're contributing. There's got to be that congruency. So if what you are dreaming up is different from what you're speaking to, or if what you're speaking to is different from what you're actually doing and acting on, then there is a lack of congruency. And that is one of the biggest problems I find that many women have, because they have to take care of the kids or the spouse and house, or they have jobs, sometimes more than one job, or you're just not making it work because you're so focused, like I mentioned before, on laborious, physically demanding jobs like a nurse or a massage therapist. You don't have time for yourself, you're not marketing properly, and you're not really focused on your passions because you're so tired physically. So the congruency has to be all across every aspect. Your thought process, the way you speak, what you speak to, how you communicate, your values, and what you do. All of that needs to be in place. And of course, it shows up in the money you make, the people that are attracted to you, your relationships, and how you feel about yourself. So just think about that for a little bit, because I know it's a big thing for a lot of people to really come into that. When you have congruency, all of it works. Like I said, it's effortless. You make more money, you help more people, you're more in your space of joy, your lifestyle goals, you're there. You're in a space of more neutrality, where you're not in flux, you're not in a chaotic state of overwhelm or in total elation or in total chaos. You're in a neutral space to be able to connect and feel like you've accomplished what you're here to do. Again, it can be done, and it's a lot more effortless than being caught up in that masculine-driven culture in business as a female, as someone who is here to step into that higher level feminine essence. So movement has to be a part of the equation. I studied at an ashram. I did graduate from journalism school, and I went to the University of Miami in Florida. And after graduating, I got some work and networked my way through and got in with some big publications and did some great work and got hired and was on my way to success. And I realized, like I mentioned before, I couldn't do it because it was so focused in a lack of compassion. And I was in an area in Miami, Florida, South Florida, very affluent, very materialistic, very ego-driven, very much based in the me, my, and not in we, not in contribution. And I found yoga, I found meditation, I found healing, and I started studying it and practicing it. And when I studied, I went to an ashram in the Bahamas called Shivananda Ashram in the Bahamas. And it was my first experience really grounding into the essence of my femininity, away from a job, because I had left my career behind. I left my relationship after 5.5 years, and I went off and I had to move my energy. I had to create movement in order to shift. Now, movement for you can be physically moving. I know a lot of you I've spoken to over the past few months, you're physically moving locations, completely new space, awesome, fantastic, right? But it's a little challenging too. I know how that can be, boxes everywhere. There's a transition with your career. Maybe you just got a new job, or you just entered into a new relationship, or you just left a relationship and you're on your own again. You just got divorced, or you've been divorced and are contemplating going back into the dating scene, right? Maybe you just had children that left to college for the first time, so you're on your own. There's a lot of things that can happen, and the movement, again, it can happen in so many areas. Movement of thoughts, movement of your communication, movement of the energy within you, within your own vibration, within what you want, the movement of your body, the movement of what your soul is calling for, right? What is your calling? What are you really here to do? So some people are definitely on a hamster wheel, and they are moving, and there's the appearance, right? Everybody looks out at them and wow, they're going, they're moving fast, they're on a roll. And here you are on a hamster wheel. It's very deceiving. It feels like you're moving and going forward, but you're not. You're just staying in the same place, sometimes moving backwards, which can be very disheartening sometimes. I understand what that feels like. So what we want to do is be aware of our movement. We want to be aware of where we want to be. We want to focus, again, on the grounding essence of really where we want to go with our contribution, with our level of impact, with the compassion that we have to share, with our soul, with what our spirit is called to do. Movement is important, not just physically, but internally, with the passion that we have to make a bigger impact. Now, if you want to make a bigger difference and you are stuck in perspective, like your own perspective, it can be very difficult. So Dr. Wayne Dyer once said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. That's one of Mike Klingler's favorite quotes. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. It's true. When you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And there's so many things that can be true for. Whether it's looking at a flower, maybe you see it as morbid because you know it's going to die, or maybe you see it as beautiful in life, but maybe you don't see it for what it really is, as a way for the bee to come and keep the ecosystem in harmony. And then you see the bee come and buzzing in the flower, and notice, oh my goodness, I just shifted perspective. I was looking at the flower from, I like the flower because it's pretty. Now I'm actually seeing, wait a minute, there's this whole new world out there that I didn't see before. Wow, there's something else going on that I wasn't focused on. My perspective shift. I see things now more expansive, more open, more unified. I can see how the collective works now. Oh, that makes sense. There's a lot of things that we can look at in life. If you change the way you see things, if you change how you look at things, of course, the world starts to shift. That's how we align. That's how we shift perspective, and that's how we attract more of what we want, by shifting how we see things. It's not what you see, it's how you choose to see it. And that's one of my quotes. So it comes down to the internal. Now, a lot of people I know focus, as I mentioned earlier, when I went to the ashram, a lot of people go to escape. They use meditation, and they go hide out in a cave, they go on retreats, and then when they come back, life is normal and chaotic again, and voila, back to problems, back to the way life normally is, because we can never escape things. But what we can do is internalize what's actually happening, and internalize within ourselves how we want to show up, as I mentioned, how we want to raise the vibration within our frequency, within ourselves, to show up in our business and our relationships, to be able to track what we want. And we do that by internalizing, not by escaping. So it's different. Internalizing, I want to bring it back to that movement, okay? So we're still moving. We've shifted perspective, and now we're internalizing. So we don't forget. We don't have that separation. We don't forget. We're still here in that movement. We're still here shifting perspective. But now, with this heightened state of awareness, we're not just meditating on emptiness. We're not just meditating to disconnect. We're actually meditating and focusing internally to connect. And that is what will allow you to truly connect to your feminine essence, to your vibration, to attract the relationships you want, abundance financially, every goal that you have, whatever you want to be, whatever you want to do, you still have that opportunity. And if you've lost the belief, like some of us were told, you can do whatever you want when you grow up. I was actually told that. I don't know if you were. I was told you can be whatever you want when you grow up. And I thought, really? Okay, well, I want to be a singer. I want to be a musician. And then I realized, well, I don't really want to be a musician because I know that it gives something to the world, but it wasn't quite exactly the highest level that I wanted, that highest level of impact I wanted to make. I wanted to make a bigger contribution to shifting mindset, to shifting culture, to shifting perspective. So I had to awaken out of the, again, masculine-driven business culture that I was surfacing in. And I had to move away from what I was taught and what I actually believed. I had to stop believing in certain things in business and in life and in relationships about myself. I had a lot of misbelief about myself. I didn't like myself. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like how other people saw me. I didn't like a lot of things about myself. And I know a lot of you also feel that way. When you go on a video, oh, I don't like how I look, my hair, my clothes, look at the mess behind me. It's just not, ugh. You go to that place and it's not attractive. It's not going to connect you to what you want. So to connect to what you want, we have to awaken out of that feeling of, and we have to move into just being it. So how do we do that? How do we answer to our calling? How do we nurture ourselves? How do we connect to nature? How do we unify our ability to serve in a greater way? How do we attract the things we want in life and have the energy to do it? How do we answer to what the Dalai Lama said of offering more compassion in everything we do and not being stuck in this ego-driven culture? How do we do that? There's a way to connect to the feminine essence, the energy within your heart. There's a way to apply that. And it is effortless. It is based in less work, less try. Actually, no try, as Yoda said, right? No try. Just do. And I also offer you be and do, right? So be it, and do it. And that's how we awaken out of this culture. And we do that as well by connecting to our vision. So I'm almost done here with the slides. So we're going to be opening it up for a couple questions here in just a moment. And I see a lot of you here who I haven't met, and I see a lot of you here who are working with me. So I'll ask some of you to connect with me in just a moment here. Vision, of course, what do you see yourself doing? Well, how do you see yourself offering value? How do you see yourself in your ideal relationship, in your ideal business? How do you see yourself in that ideal vision? What is the ideal vision? We have to connect to that. If you cannot visualize what you want, if you cannot feel what you want, it will be very hard, very difficult, if not impossible, to align to it. And I bring us back to, of course, we're going to come back to vision again. Vision, again, has to be applied throughout every aspect of this path. But the purpose is the seed of our intent, right? So we have a seed, cultivate the soil, plant it where we know it's going to get sun and rain and water it, nurture it, and we plant that seed of intent with the intention that it will bloom and blossom and grow to whatever it is that we intended it to be, whether we planted romaine or kale or cucumbers or tomatoes or a rose bush. We must connect to the vision. We must connect to the purpose. The purpose is, again, what you're here to do. I've been talking about that throughout today's session. What are you here to do? What do you want to do? What are you good at? What are you called to do? What is your purpose? What is the mission that you are here to fulfill? Maybe it's not what you're doing right now. Maybe it's on a different path, and maybe you're scared to change paths, and that's okay. But let's be honest with what's really happening. Let's be really honest. And that's how we discover what our vision is, and that's how we learn how to fulfill our purpose, our deepest intention of what we're here to do. And then the dedication. So we're dedicated to our vision. We're dedicated to our purpose. We're not a servant to it, but we nurture it. We honor it. Honoring our purpose, honoring our vision. That's how we remove ourselves from this chaos of masculine-driven business culture. That's how we align to our essence, our feminine essence, the highest level of vibration. That's how we do it. And we must become dedicated to it. If we forget, if we fall off path, we must come back to it and remind ourselves. And that's why a lot of people hire me to work with them, to help them stay held accountable for what they want, and to be a consistent guide and reminder to you to help you stay on path, to keep you in that space so that you are dedicated to your vision, so that, again, your purpose is fulfilled. Because maybe you're not honoring it. Maybe you're not comfortable with yourself. Maybe you don't like how you look. Maybe you don't like the fact that you got divorced and you're a single mom. Maybe you don't like being a nurse after 25 years. Maybe you don't like being single. Maybe you don't like anything at all about your life. Or maybe there's just one little thing that you're nitpicking about. And there's kind of a disconnect. And we all have something like that. But if we focus on that, of course, we're going to lose sight of what we're really here to do. We have to honor that. And that's being truly dedicated. And that's being able to fulfill your vision, to be able to follow through and to stay on path, being consistent. So we have an iPhone, we have a little cup of water, and we have a laptop here. So, of course, there's work involved, but we've got to be consistent. We can't just dream up our vision and expect voila, it happens, right? We can't just plant a seed and hope that it gets the water and sun it needs. We have to care for it. And being consistent is being able to wake up, know what you're here to do, know that if you have a fight with your spouse or partner, knowing not to react, to be open, to offer compassion, to be consistent in your practice. Consistency with all avenues, not just your work and your clients and your business and your kids and your family, but with yourself and everything that you are here to create. Creative energy, this is a big thing, right? A lot of you have so much creative energy, but you're not honoring yourself. So the contribution goals you have haven't quite gotten there yet. So I don't know how old some of you are, whatever age you're at, whatever age you feel, I should also say, because I feel sometimes a different age than I really am. Sometimes we get a little down on ourselves. Oh man, I wanted to be at a better place now at my age, right? A lot of times people say that. Oh, I wanted to have this in place by this time and I haven't. So, we get down on ourselves. So the contribution goals are important. And if we start with our essence, if we start by grounding and rooting ourselves into our feminine essence, we will be able to have a high level contribution. We will be able to contribute more. We will. Naturally, we will. It will happen. It'll be a natural occurrence, organic, based on the work we're here to do, based on what we do on our actions. You will be able to contribute more. And all of it will align. And again, it comes back to your message. It comes back to what is your message? What is the you that goes out when you walk out the door and people perceive you. What do they get? What's the message they get from you? When you work with clients, or when you go to your job, or when you work with your kids on their homework, or when you're connecting with your partner or yourself, what's that message? What are you rooted in? What is the message that has evolved over the course of your life? What is the message that you want to offer? What does that sound like and feel like? That's your feminine essence. That's your vibration. It's your message. And many of you are very out of touch with what your message is because you haven't aligned to all of the previous that we mentioned. There's a lot of things that could be on point, a lot of things that could be off point. And again, are you in the vibe? Are you floating in the vibe? Are you feeling effortless? Are you feeling joyful? Are you feeling like it's easy? Or are you feeling like it's hard and you have to try and you're not attractive or you're not attracting? This is one thing that will be very, very helpful for you to ask of yourself, what is my message when I walk out the door? When I smile or cry or frown or pout or argue, what is the message that I'm sending out? What am I going to create by being that? What am I going to be able to offer by being that? So here we go back. Attuning, attracting, and making your impact. So we attune to the vibration that we want to create. We then attract that vibration. We attract that level of frequency. What we put out, we will attract back. And then we get to decide. We get to choose what kind of an impact we want to make. We get to decide and choose from there how we make our impact, based though on our vibration, based on our essence, based on our purpose and our mission, based on what we are here to offer the world. It's sometimes not always what we want. Sometimes we're actually called, a deeper calling comes forward, and you're actually asked within yourself, your higher voice, whatever you want to call it, your spirit calls you to do something else, or you're moved energetically to do something else in life. And this is true for a lot of people, myself included. So we then attune our vibrational frequency to be able to attract that, what it is we're actually here to do. It's funny because the Dalai Lama, I was watching a documentary a couple months ago, and he was asked in an interview, if you could have chosen to be the Dalai Lama, would you have? And he said, well, that's not a good question because it was chosen for me. It was my destiny. And I think that is very true for all of us. He said, I accepted it and I had to embrace it. I couldn't fight it, regardless of if I thought it was for me or not. He said, I was so young, I just had to embrace it. It was just what I must do, to embrace my dharma, my destiny. So what it is that you're doing now, again, the path you're on, where you're headed, may not be in alignment with what you really want, may not be attracting what you want, may not be creating the impact you want. And that's okay. I'm not going to get down on yourself for it, right? Because that's the opposite of what we want. We want to move to the vibration of what you do want. So just like the Dalai Lama said, maybe it wasn't what I wanted, but I had to embrace it because it was my destiny. It was my path. It's what I was here to do and what I am here to do. It's how I'm here to serve, and it's my destiny. It's my purpose. It's my mission. Compassion is the radicalism of our time. The Dalai Lama said these words to be of use for you, women visionaries, those of you who are looking to plant the seed of your intention and grow your vision to make a better world, whether you are a healer, a coach, a practitioner of some kind, with a message to make a bigger impact in the world, doing something that you are inspired by. If you are looking to create a brand presence, to go online, to offer the amazing services and modalities that you do, whether you have no idea how to package your value and express your message online, or you already have something online but you're not quite sure how to market yourself effectively on video, or you don't yet have the confidence because you don't know how to show up visually, or you don't know how to attract clients because you're not sure what to say, I want to share with you how to bring together your holistic message to be able to attract your clients, to lead them to the sales you want to make, to the offers that maybe you need help packaging, whether you want to create amazing content and need help doing so, or you want to just learn how to express yourself on a platform globally to be heard and recognized. I want to share with you how to do it in a way that's driven by compassion. And as the Dalai Lama said, it is the time today to step forward into your vision with compassion. Mike Klingler and I are looking for 11 women to support in our global branding group, a group of women where we help you put together everything regarding your content, your messaging, your packaging, creating your courses or programs online, knowing exactly what to offer and how to express and communicate that effectively to your audience so that you can make your sales, so that you're not just generically creating something and not sure how to sell it, but that you're attracting people and you're being genuine and how you're showing up in your business. I'm Robyn Linn with Being You in Business. Share with me your vision below. Let me know more about your intention, your business goals, what it is that you're working on now that you want some support with or some clarity in, or if you have 1,001 ideas that you need help getting clarity and knowing where to focus to expand your brand. I look forward to seeing if you are someone that I get to support in our global branding group. And again, we're only working with 11 women on your meaningful messages. So if this resonates, share with me below and I will reach out